Right, now my good friend Ryan Baleson and I always enjoy coming to the US and talking about the cars. The cars are amazing, bigger, so much more toys and spec and things like that. Here's a guy that's having fun there. And we always like to see what rental car we get. Well, this time on this trip, I actually got told at the Avis counter I'm getting a Toyota Corolla, and I was a little bit disappointed. But then I drove it for about a day, and I realized that it's a lot different to what we get in South Africa, and actually not bad at all. So I'll do a quick review on the 2019 US Toyota Corolla, and that's it there behind me. And as you can see, the first thing that stands out is it looks significantly better than the model, the somewhat conservative model we get in South Africa. It actually in jet black looks pretty good, I would say. I'll do a quick walk around. And once again, I'm here, I've chosen a nice location. I'm in Snoqualmie, very close to the falls. And I've just parked in a random location, very beautiful. You have no idea how beautiful this part of the world is. So there's the Corolla, and let's do a walk around of the exterior before moving on to the interior. So this Corolla looks absolutely sleek compared to the stodgy, conservative South African model. Get some good pics right there. This is actually a base model. It's just an alley manual, well, it's an automatic gearbox. I've seen higher spectrums out there. Very nice finish. Move on to the back. I mean, if we park the South African model next to this, it's chalk and cheese. Very sleek taillights. I notice in the US the Toyotas are always a lot sleeker. The American styling, I think they do their own styling, just looks better. No wonder they sell so many of these in the US. And it's the same with the Camry. When you think Camry, you think old man's car in South Africa. Well, I mean, they've got a new model here, and it actually looks pretty decent. So I took this car on these mountain roads, and you can see these beautiful roads up here. And you wouldn't expect to have fun in a Toyota Corolla, but actually it wasn't too bad. It very stable, held the road, and I wouldn't say it replaces a sports car, but it was, when you find yourself on a nice road like this, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. So from that perspective, very nice. 2-liter engine, not a turbo. I see that in America they're not too concerned about having a turbo. Seattle, of course, is at sea level, so you don't really need the turbo. There's plenty of power. As I said, not a 1.6 or a 1.8. It's actually a 2-liter, and plenty of power, but also decent fuel economy. I'm getting 40 to 45 miles per gallon, just depending on where I am, what type of roads. And so I'm going to be honest with you, from my initial disappointment, I'll go back to that front view, which is just miles better than the South African model. From my initial disappointment, I'm actually pretty impressed. Let's go and have a look at the interior before we do the dashboard. So you'll see nothing fancy, but the spec is just off the charts once again compared to the South African model. It's got stuff that my BMW doesn't have back home, like forward collision warning and lane change assist, and more than enough space at the back. It's very impressive. So this is the 2019 Toyota Corolla, which was provided to me as a rental car, and when they said Toyota Corolla, I said, okay, that's a little bit disappointing. What else do you have? But I'll be very honest with you, it actually has a lot of features more than what the current model in South Africa has, and that's what you normally find with American cars, right? You see lots of features standard that you don't get back home. So I mean, this car has an eco mode. If I look at the display, that's pretty standard. That's your onboard computer showing the outside temperature 51 Fahrenheit. That's a little bit nippy, but it's not too bad. It's basically manageable. What you notice on the steering, though, there's a couple of things. In addition to the normal steering controls, this car comes standard with lane keep assist, and forward collision warning. That's something that you don't see standard even on high-end cars like BMW. So if I press the button for lane departure assist, what it's going to do, I tried it out yesterday. So if you're on the highway and you veer off the lane, the steering will actually vibrate and tug. Then there's forward collision warning, which is this button here, which basically monitors the front of the vehicle. So it's got some features like that. Then you have your pretty comprehensive screen in the middle, where it's showing you not just the audio and the setup of the car, optional nav, your trip information, and of course Bluetooth syncing with your phone, climate control at the bottom, and this one's got an automatic, but it does have a sport mode, so you can put it into manual if you want. And the car itself is pretty spacious. I think it's a little bit bigger than the South African model, because I'll tell you why. I just noticed that there's tweeters as well, so it's upgraded sound system. I had 4 people here. I had a customer that I needed to take to meetings yesterday, so I had 4 people in the car, and it was actually fine driving around Bellevue and Redmond. So Toyota Corolla in America, actually a lot different to the Toyota Corolla that you get back home. There's always differences. There's somebody called James who synced his iPhone, and he's left it here. There's a whole bunch of information that it's showing me. Now I think I'm gonna do James a favor and remove these details, because sometimes your contacts, never ever sync your phone on a rental car. If you do, make sure you delete it, because all your contacts gets downloaded. And what these American Toyotas do, I had a Camry last year when I was here. The American Toyotas actually display your SMSs. I can't find it right now. Maybe I'll have to pair my phone. It actually shows you your SMSs and your WhatsApp messages, and those messages get stored there. So you pay with a rental car, that's just going to stay there. Okay, so that's my rental car experience, which is pretty nice. So this Corolla, I can't believe I'm saying this, actually not the worst rental car in the world, and on this trip, pretty enjoyable.